Hello and welcome. This is Business at 9. I'm Shibani Gharat. Now, US September PPI inflation increases to 2.7% year over year, which is above expectations of 2.6%. However, the core PPI came in at 2.6%, which lower than expectation of 2.7%. Meanwhile, the monthly PPI for September came in at 0.3%, in line with expectations, and core PPI came in at 0.1% month over month. Below expectations of 0.2%, the PPI, in fact, inflation data is significant as it could influence Fed's decision at the upcoming September FOMC meeting. The Fed is expected to cut rates, which with odds of 25 basis points cut above 80%. Now, stocks were mixed today, a day after major indexes surged to begin the holiday-shortened week as Nvidia and other semiconductor shares fell on a report Meta platforms may use Google's AI chips in their data centers. The tech-heavy Nasdaq and benchmark S&P 500 were down 0.5% and 0.1% respectively, while the blue-chip Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.4% in recent trading as of now, Dow Jones. And yet another day of losses on Dalal Street. Nifty ended 70 points lower amidst jitters ahead of FNO expiry. Sensex too closed over 300 points lower. IT stocks were the biggest losers in trade. Realty stocks were the outliers in trade. Snehi is here with more details. Snehi, tell us more.
Well, yes, a very tepid day of trade and a weak monthly Nifty expiry day is something that our markets saw in the session. About 0.4% cut on the Nifty, similar cut coming in for the Sensex, and the Nifty wasn't even able to hold on to that 25,900 mark, or rather 26,000 mark. So below 25,900 is where we've shut shop. The advance decline ratio was in the favor of the advances, but quite nominally. The broader markets also slipped in the red, but the India VIX cooled off sharply. From the Nifty 50 gainers, you had BEL, Hindalco, Shriram Finance, SBI and SBI Life that did well. On the flip side, there was some pressure on Adani Enterprises, Trent, Tata Motors PV and Infosys. If you take a look at the sectoral gainers and losers, Nifty IT was a sector that was under pressure today, along with Nifty Energy, Auto, FMCG and Nifty Bank on the flat line. On the flip side, Nifty Realty, PSU Banks, Metal and Pharma did pretty well for themselves. Individual gainers and losers included names like HEG, Craftsman Automation, Century Plyboard on the gaining side, and Spandana Spurti as well on the back of management rejig. On the flip side, you did have Yatra Online that was under deep pressure on the back of the CEO stepping down, along with some other names like ITI Limited, Honeywell Automation, RCF as well as Wright. So that is what the market looked like on the monthly Nifty expiry day. All eyes are going to be on when we are able to scale up to those 26,000 mark again.
Snehi, stay with us and also tell us what were the cues to watch for tomorrow.
Well, yes, lots of cues to watch out for. Nothing much happening in India on the back of macroeconomic indicators, but globally, lots of indicators to watch out for. And most importantly, from the US, other than initial jobless claims, all eyes are going to be on the Q3 personal consumption index, which is the core PCE index, which is the Fed's preferred gauge to understand where the inflation lies in the economy and take Fed policy action accordingly. You'll also have GDP numbers coming in from the US along with the Fed's beige book, so watch out for all of these indicators from the US. From UK, their Chancellor Rachel Reeves will be delivering the autumn budget, and from Japan, the PPI numbers will be out. But shifting focus back home and talking about some corporate action and board meetings, watch out for IIFL Finance, Hindustan Construction Company, which is HCC, and JK Bank. The board is going to be mulling fundraising, so watch out for that. The recently listed Studs Accessories IPOs, that IPO is a recently listed company, and they're going to be mulling their first numbers. They're going to be declaring their first earnings post listing, so watch out for that. HDFC AMC, that stock will be trading ex bonus in the ratio 1:1, so keep a close eye on that. And PFC will be trading ex dividend. In terms of the primary markets, you'll have one listing. Excel Soft Technologies will be making its D Street debut, so we'll all be watching out for how that IPO lists on the board. NDBC Green Energy could be under some pressure because the lock-in period for 69% anchor anchor investor holding is going to be opening. So expect to see some volatility on that stock. And lastly, in terms of some other events, watch out for commentary from ECB Chief Philip Lane, Chief Economist. He is going to be speaking at an event. So watch out for important cues over there and keep your eye very closely on all of these cues.
Moving on, Bharti Airtel promoter ICIL to sell 3.4 crore shares in block trade for up to $806 million. Ishika Kapadia is here with details.
There's been a big block deal in Bharti Airtel. The shareholder ICIL, an entity owned by Sunil Mittal and family, is selling 3.4 crore shares, which is about 0.56% of the company. Now, the sale is fully secondary, worth roughly $806 million, and the floor price is set at 2,096.7 rupees, which is a 3% discount to the opening price. The shares will be sold through bulk trades on the exchange, and Goldman Sachs is managing the whole process. Now, the book opened on 25th November and closed on 26th November at 7 a.m. Settlement is due on November 27th. Now, FPIs can participate subject to availability limits, and the seller has agreed to a 90-day lockup on its remaining stake. That means it cannot sell any more shares for the next 3 months. It has been a meaningful block deal in a large cap name, so markets will track this demand and price discovery accordingly.
Now, Tata Motors is betting big on Sierra comeback. Launched at the starting price of 11.49 lakh, Sierra could help Tata Motors increase its market share to as much as 20 to 25%. My colleague Shrishti Sharma, who was at the launch of Tata Motors Sierra SUV, filed a report. Listen in.
Well, yes, Tata Motors Sierra is finally here, where in India the official launch is through, wherein this Sierra is coming back on the roads after 35 years long of wait. But along with that, at a very aggressive pricing is what this offering has made into the Indian roads, where Tata Motors say that this particular car will start at a price of just 11.5 lakh rupees. It is indeed fully loaded with a whole host of features and premium features rather to give that cabin feel, and along with that the company has come out with a triple infotainment screen, level 2 ADAS and lots more. But with respect to the pricing specifically, it's expected to give a tough competition to some of their rivals. Indeed, the biggest of all could be Creta. It could be, other than that, Maruti Suzuki's Grand Vitara, MG Hector could be one, and Skoda Kushaq are some of the key competitors for Tata Motors Sierra. But along with that, don't forget that they're going to be competing with some of their own offerings as well, from Safari as well as Harrier. But this offering is indeed different, because for now, the kind of features that it has been loaded with, they are outstanding and very conventional and different from the conventional Tata Motors offering. But along with that, with respect to the features, for now, this car comes in with 3 engine options. One of them is the conventional petrol. The other 1.5 liters is the turbo petrol, and 1.5 liters of diesel engine is what the company is offering. But the wait for the EV won't be long, when the next fiscal Tata Motors confirm that Tata Sierra EV will be something that they will be looking forward to. So definitely, pricing is one of the key outstanding features. Tata Motors does confirm that it is not an introductory offer. It is expected to be stable for quite some time. At Tata Motors Sanand 2 plant is where this particular car will be manufactured, and analysts do believe that this definitely could be a game changer for Tata Motors in their India business.
Yes, Tata Motors is getting the OG car Tata Sierra back on Indian roads. Now, talking to ET now, Tata Motors passenger vehicles top boss Shailesh Chandra says the auto giant has now a distinct segment positioning across SUVs, with Harrier in the high range, Nexon in the compact segment, and then Sierra in the mid-size segment. Listen in to this conversation.
There are certain things which are carryover from the original Sierra, so that it resembles the OG Sierra, because when you are bringing an iconic product again, you have to keep that resemblance and DNA intact. So one big thing about this car is the timeless timeless design of OG Sierra which has been carried forward, and that you see in the silhouette of the car, which is upright, boxy, wraparound glass, that has been carried forward, which makes it very distinct and differentiated in the segment it has been launched, which is premium mid SUV segment.
And the sense on the street is that it might surpass some of your other kids on the block. I know you love all your kids, be it Harrier, be it Safari, but Sierra is special because it comes with an emotional connect also. They are excited and they are looking forward and they are optimistic that it might surpass the sales of some of the other models. Are you optimistic too that it can be in a 5-digit number?
You know, I am not going to risk saying a number, but we have certain number basis which we are planning the production. But I must say that, you know, the SUV segment in which our market share is around 16-17%, we believe that Sierra can help us lift this to above 20%, between 20 and 25%. So that's the expectation. I think, you know, most of our cars are in very distinct categories. You know, you have a Harrier on a high SUV category. You have a Nexon, which is in the compact SUV category. This is sitting in the mid SUV segment. So all of them are big in their respective segments. And therefore, I believe that this will have its own distinct space. Hope that it crosses the 5-digit mark.
But Mr. Chandra, one thing I must tell you that yes, of course, we keep posting the stuff on Sierra. It's a very good response. But the other fact that people allude to is with respect to the services. What is Tata Motors doing to enhance that and to improve that?
No, so we had a challenge because as a company we grew 4.5 times in 4-year period. And there was also a COVID period in between, because of which there was an issue on the capacity on the service side. We could not grow because we were not allowed to open these new workshops, the approvals that you had to take from the government and all. And therefore, there was a lag in creating the capacity. But I think in the last 1.5 years, not only have we overcome the issue of capacity in about 30 hotspot cities, but also significantly improved and modernized the service centers.
No, I think that assurance people were really looking forward to. But just a couple of things. Everybody is excited about Sierra, but what about the EV launch? When is that happening?
That's going to happen next financial year, in the first half of the next financial year. So,
all right, all eyes on that.
Away.
But why not 4x4 is one of the other questions, because Sierra back then...
Not 4x4 at the time of launch, but as you would have seen in the presentation that this is going to get a AWD, but not at the time of launch.
At 11.5 lakh rupees, Sierra is going to hit roads again as a mid-tier SUV from Tata Motors. On that note, it is time for us to slip into a short break. You don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Business at 9. Now, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal chairs 4th Board of Trade meeting. Goyal said that India must expand its economy and create more employment opportunities by increasing exports, emphasizing the need for strong collaboration between the central government and the states to drive export expansion and diversification. Let's listen in to what Commerce Minister said.
For example, our seafood exports, which we thought will take a hit post the US not having as yet concluded the bilateral trade agreement. We were happy to note that thanks to the trade-off between quality control orders that EU desired and the listing of 102 establishments that we succeeded in getting after 9 years of efforts. You're all aware that I've just come back yesterday after a very successful visit to Israel, where terms of reference were finalized. We will shortly be commencing negotiations, virtually to begin with, and moving into an early stage, early harvest FTA with Israel. interest equalization, market access initiative, these two will come next week itself.
And now my colleague Sumita Karir, who's tracking the story, gets in more details on the meeting.
Absolutely. So the meeting which you've been talking about, in fact, Minister Piyush Goyal just a short while back also spoke at a press conference about, this particular Board of Trade meeting. Remember, it convenes only once a year, and this year's focus essentially was on, the kind of impact, or to assess the kind of impact that Indian exports have faced on account of US tariffs, given the fact that US has imposed a 50% duty on Indian exports. And of course, the Piyush Goyal, the Commerce and Industry Minister, stated that the impact has not been very significant, particularly when he spoke about the fisheries segment. For instance, the fisheries segment has gotten access to the European Union market, and as a result, they have, sort of not suffered on that front. He also said that all the attendees of the at the Board of Trade meeting, which included representatives from states, union territories, and of course various exporters, they showed satisfaction at the kind of movement that we've seen with respect to these several FTAs that have been, some of them have been signed and others are currently in the process of negotiation. So at the moment, he stated that Eurasia FTA, EU-Eurasia FTA will start talks tomorrow in New Delhi. He also stated that various FTAs that are currently under negotiation aside of EU and the United States include New Zealand, Peru, Chile, and of course Israel was the new one, and you did see the Commerce and Industry Minister talk about that. Other than that, there was also a focus on the government getting a suggestion from these exporters that there will be newer items that will be put under RBI moratorium. So that is a significant step that the government is essentially undertaking. Then he also spoke about SEZ. So he said that interministerial consultations are on SEZs, and SEZ reforms will help exporters, and surplus capacity at SEZs will make local industry more competitive. In terms of other suggestions that were presented by these exporters to the minister, he said that legal services support will be provided by DGTR for MSMEs, and internal logistics costs were flagged, and government will be essentially working on that. But one very important thing that came out of this press briefing was the fact that the export promotion mission that got concluded and got a sign off by India's cabinet as well, the guidelines for that, they will start rolling out starting next week, in the next 1 week.
And now on to an ET Now exclusive. The government is making changes to PLI scheme for advanced chemistry cell battery storage. This in order to maximize the bidder participation. Prakash Priyadarshi joins in with the details.
Well, we are learning that the government has made changes to the PLI scheme for ACC battery storage, a very crucial development coming in. In fact, these changes have been made for bidding of 10 gigawatt hour capacity for grid scale stationary storage. This is primarily based on recommendations of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy to increase bidder participation. And the positive part is that these recommendations have been approved by the empowered group of secretaries on PLI schemes. As per the recommendations which have been approved by the empowered group of secretaries, maximum and minimum capacity per bidder for stationary storage reduced to 4 gigawatt hour from 20 gigawatt hour and 1 gigawatt hour from 5 gigawatt hour respectively. Along with that, approved end of life capacity for calculation of cycle life has been reduced to 75% from 80% of initial capacity. In addition to that, energy density replaced with energy efficiency in the key features of the testing framework. These are key recommendations approved by the empowered group of secretary based on recommendations made by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy to maximize bidder participation. You are aware that the SEC PLI scheme was announced in the year 2021 with an outlay of rupees 18,000 crore, where government targets building 50 gigawatt hour capacity of battery cell under this scheme.
Moving on to an exciting news from sports, the ICC officially announced the complete schedule and grouping for the ICC T20 World Cup 2026 held in India, Sri Lanka, starting from 7th of February. Now, India, who are also the defending champions, will be a part of Group A. Group A includes USA, Netherlands, Namibia and Pakistan. India will play its first match against USA on 7th of February in Mumbai. India will also play their arch rivals Pakistan on 15th of Feb in Colombo. Former captain Rohit Sharma has been named the brand ambassador of the tournament, and the final will be held on 8th March in Ahmedabad or Colombo.
Of the T20 World Cup will start on the 7th of February 2026 versus USA. They will then play Namibia here in Delhi, and then the big match on the 15th of February in Sri Lanka, which is India versus Pakistan. And that, of course, is going to be the highlight as far as India's group stage is concerned, because the other matches are comparatively going to be easy for India, given its USA, Namibia, and then Netherlands in Ahmedabad. So obviously all eyes will be on the big India versus Pakistan match. But of late, we've seen in the Asia Cup as well that Pakistan's quality of cricket really hasn't been up to the mark, and it has been easy wins for the Indian team led by Suryakumar Yadav. But this is going to be a huge test for the Indian team as well, playing at home. Remember, they are the defending champions, winning the title back in 2024 in Barbados when they beat South Africa. So this is going to be a huge moment for India as well, to play at home in front of home crowds and also try and keep the trophy at home. So it is going to be a very interesting 1 month, with the final slated to be held on the 8th of March and the semi-finals on the 4th and 5th of March.
Absolutely. And how can we forget the victory parade that happened right here in Mumbai, when winning team came back with the trophy from the Caribbean. Also USA, by the way, in the last T20 World Cup, they outshone many teams, and the more established ones as well. Of course, Saurabh Netravarkar had been like a big champion for the tournament for USA. Now moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ceremonially hoisted in fact saffron flag, a Dharma Dwaj atop Ram Temple in Ayodhya during a sacred ceremony called Dwajarohan, marking the formal completion of its construction. Now, PM Modi was accompanied by RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat and UP CM Yogi Adityanath during the ceremony. After the ceremony, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the sacred Dwajarohan ceremony at Ram Mandir in Ayodhya as a symbol of cultural revival and the victory of truth, unity and dharma. Well, with that, it's a wrap on Business at 9. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.